All right. Hey folks, we're going to do a quick walkthrough of how to use Figjam to create wireframes for your upcoming deliverable. So in the screen, you'll see that I have Figma open. So Figma is the primary design tool. Figjam is the whiteboarding component of Figma. So we will be using Figjam for your wireframes with your team. So how to get to Figjam. So here I've got Figma on downloaded to my computer. So this is the computer client. Um, Ideally, you're using the computer client. Things will work a little bit faster. So do that if possible. So here in the top right, you'll see a button that says Create New. So we're going to hit that button, hit the button, and then you'll see some options here. There's design file, Figjam board, or slide deck. We won't use import. Imports when you have like design files from other programs like Sketch, where you can just import them in and they try their best to translate them into Figma like workable files. So we're not going to use that. We're actually going to use the Figjam board. It's got that little pencil next to it. So when you click there, you'll have your new blank Figjam file. It's called entitled, so give it a title, preferably your project name. Um, we're going to close this out. This is some sort of like AI tool plugin, like they're just plugging that they have this tool, but we're not going to use that for this. So I'm going to close that. Um, when you when you get started with this, make sure you hit that share button on the top right, and make sure you invite the other team members to this as well. So ideally everyone would have used their UC Denver email address. If not, you got to figure out what email addresses everyone's using and make sure you drop it in there. Um, so only the first person who creates the Figjam needs to do this. Not everyone will need to, because you're all going to be working from one file. So make sure you put their names in or their emails in, and then so let's say I'll just say like I'm going to put my personal email there, and then there's can edit or can view. So you'll want to make sure can edit is live. Can view just means that someone will be able to look at it, but they won't be able to make edits to it. And what you want at this stage is everyone to collaborate on the same file. So once you add folks there, they should start showing up in that menu. So you'll have the other folks with their photos and their names there to confirm that you sent it to the right person. All right. So for this deliverable, I'm looking for low fidelity wireframes. And what that means is that I'm looking for sketches of what your app will look like. Um, and when you sketch with pen and paper, like actual physical pen and physical paper, you typically draw an outline of what your app would look like. So you'll show like a navigation bar, you'll show buttons, you'll draw in text. You typically don't add color to this. What I'm looking for here is the same, except I'm looking for the digital equivalent. So you'll actually be drawing using Figjam here. And everyone in their proposals had provided a feature they want to work on. So in this case, every person will have their feature essentially outlined here in wireframe mode for your deliverable. So how do you go about creating one of these things? Like I mentioned, it's an outline or a skeleton of what your app would look like. So I would start with a square. So when you first drag in this, so what I did is I hovered over the toolbar down here, and there's a square, and I pulled that over. You'll also notice that when I click on the square, there's a menu that pops up over it. There's shape, and this will actually like shape it into different things if that's what you want. Fun fact, that's called a squircle because it's not a square and it's not a circle, so it's a squircle. I learned that from my principal designer on my team. But we're going to be using a lot of rectangles here. So um, precision is not particularly important at this stage. Like we're not looking for the right pixel height, pixel size. So we're not looking at 375 by 712, which is what I've recommended that your app dimensions are. Right here, you're just looking at rectangles. So we have a rectangle here. I don't want lilac rectangles. I actually want white rectangles because for now, the background of my app will be white. And then if I wanted to put a little outline around it to make it easier for folks to know, the difference between the foreground and the background, that's great too. Okay, and it comes with its own like stroke around it. I'm actually not sure. I don't think you can change it. I think you can go like dotted line or no line or just line. But again, like we're not looking at hyper customizing any of these designs. This is literally just drawing pen and paper except the digital form. So here I have a blank app screen. And maybe I want to copy some of these over. So I'm going to just copy paste them with Command C, Command V. So I'm going to do that a few times. I'm looking for more than three, so make sure you read the assignment requirements there. So here I've got a bunch of blank screens, and what I want to do for my app is I want to draw some headers. So I'm going to pull in another rectangle, and I'm going to draw like a rectangle for what the header would look like. And then I'm also going to have a navigation bar at the bottom. So I'm just gonna copy and paste that same one because they're the same height. And this app bar I'm going to pull over a circle here is going to have some navigation buttons. So here I'm just going to turn that into, actually I'm going to go with the gray. And as you can see here, there's very limited color palette, although you can use the custom color picker. But again, I'm just looking for simplicity. So I may need this to be taller because I need to put labels underneath. So like here is one icon. And as you can tell, I'm not actually dropping in the icons. I'm just putting placeholders here, which are these little dots. Let's see, make sure that, okay. Yeah, so right here, there's just little dots. You can go as far as dropping emojis in that already exist in the Mac OS keyboard. If you want to pull in an icon set and drop it in here too, that's fine. I don't really want you to spend time drawing them though. Like again, like I really want this to be as simple as possible because I want you to really focus on functionality and the stuff that goes on the screen. I don't want you to think too hard right now about what it looks like. So here, I'm just going to put home. Um, I'm going to put home, and I need to make that a little bit smaller. So it comes in like these preset dimensions already: small, medium, large, extra large, huge. Or you can put in an actual number. So I'm just going to put in 12 and hope that fits. Okay. So I'm going to put home. I'll put profile here, and then I'll put, let's see, inbox. I don't even know what app I'm designing. I'm just like creating this on the fly. Um, Maybe I'll do Canvas. I'll pretend to do a Canvas one. So class. I'll just do class instead of classes. Oh, maybe classes would be better because you may have multiple classes that you're accessing in Canvas. Okay, so here's my like fake navigation bar. I think those are aligned like on the y-axis, but I'll just leave it for now for this demo. So I've drawn the navigation bar. I want to put something in the header, so I'm going to say this is Canvas Student App, which I believe it's what it's called because there's a Canvas teacher app. And here, on this first page, I might want to put an area. I'm going to make that white. And maybe maybe the first thing I'm going to show here is, I'm going to put in the text. So I'll say interactive one. And then, so this is a tile that you'll click to go to the class page. And then I'll put some other classes like art history, maybe trigonometry, trigonometry. Yeah, that's it. And maybe, there'll be something else here. I don't know. What other classes do you need to take? We'll do drawing. Let's see. Okay. So I'm highlighting this bottom bar, deselecting the frame, also deselecting the button for drawing. I'm going to group these together. So Command G, this should be really familiar from Photoshop. This isn't too much different. Command X, Command V. So I'm essentially like pasting it on top. You can also just like hit it and then go to like a contextual menu and rearrange the layers. Again, very similar to like Photoshop, and now the the other Adobe programs, I just use, copy paste to paste things on top. Okay, so here is my first page of the Canvas student app. So I've got my header, have tiles for interactive one, art history, trigonometry, drawing, and then I have this navigation menu at the bottom. So for my next wireframe, I want to create the interactive one screen. So I'm going to copy and paste that header because I want it to be consistent. Um, so I'm going to turn that into interactive one. And then for fun, I'll just do inbox to show what one of those looks like. And then I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Oh, there's a rogue triangle there. I'm actually going to spread these a little further apart. So I didn't select all of them. All right, here we go. So I'm going to spread these a little further apart. And, as you're dragging them, you're going to see these guides on your screen that kind of show you the distance between the elements that you're moving and dragging. Okay, so interactive one, if I don't have a lot of detail like I don't right now, I'm going to click on this pencil looking thing. It's called a marker, but I call it a pencil because it looks like a pencil. So now when I click on that, there's these other tools that come up. So we've got the highlighter tool, washi tape, which is essentially like a pattern on tape that you can put on. There's an eraser, and then there's these two different, radii for your pen tip. So there's like the smaller one and the thicker one, and then you've got colors that you can choose from. So here, I'm just going to use my marker. I'm going to use the thin radius, and I'm going to use black. So here, I may have an assignment. So I'm just using my mouse cursor. So this is using my trackpad. You can go fancy and hit the shift bar if you want some straight lines. In this case, this is a rectangle, so you can also just use the rectangle tool. But I'm just showing you here how to use the pen tool. So here I may have an image. So I'm just going to put an X through that. That kind of in old designer drawings, if there's an X through a box, that means it's an image. So we've got this hero image here, and then we've got some text. I don't really feel like going into lorem ipsum and copying and pasting that over. So I'm just going to draw some squiggly lines. Oh, that's a terrible squiggly line. I'm going to draw some lines. So this is something I would probably see if you were submitting, pen and paper sketches. So here I'm just clicking and dragging my trackpad. So like the pointer of my trackpad, that's all I'm doing. And you can do this on your mouse as well. I use my mouse for work, not a trackpad. Let's see, so what else are some things that you may need to do? You may need to also connect some of these together. So this connector tool is the arrow that's kind of in this gallery of shapes. So when I click the arrow, this toolbar comes up. So we've got the connector arrow, which will kind of connect like one element, so like a rectangle to another rectangle, or rectangle to square. Essentially, it's like this connecting shapes, and it'll draw like the connection for you, so you don't have to scroll up and down stuff. I'll show you what it looks like. We've got a straight line arrow, and of course we've got that color picker tool again. We've got basic flowchart. So these are like the different types of arrow tools that you have. And these are the shapes that should be familiar to you. So I'm going to use this first arrow so that it draws the connectors for me. So here I'm hovered over, so I have I have that connector tool selected. It's in purple. So I'm going to here, when I hover over the interactive one button, you'll see these little like anchor points. Wherever you click from to start is where that connection button will start, or the connection arrow will start. And you can drag that later, so I'll show you. So I'm going to click on that interactive one button, and then you'll see this little arrow with the button show up. And then it kind of gives you like an auto suggest. So do you want to go here? Maybe you do. Maybe you want to go up here. Maybe this is the tool where it like redraws it for you, so you don't have to draw around these. So maybe I want it to click there. If not, maybe I want it on this screen, but I don't, because it's interactive one. So this button will definitely take you to this new page. Let's see, did that connect correctly? Yeah. Okay. So this button takes you to this page. let's say I want to show the inbox, and this button is going to go to this page. So I'm going to click that connector again. I'm going to click on that inbox and then point it here. So you can see that this arrow now falls on top of this interactive one screen. So I'm going to click this arrow, this connector arrow, and you'll see these little dragger areas. So what you can do is click and drag it over so that it does not overlap. And let's say, maybe I want this to be further down, further up for some reason. You can click and drag there, as well as the one on top too. So if you want, oh, that's too close. So let's pretend that the arrow is a little bit farther away. You can also kind of click and drag here, if that works for you. Let's see. Okay, so these are only my 3 screens for now. So I've used the marker tool, I've used the arrows, I've used the shapes, I've also used the text tool, and I've kind of shown you how to get the basics set up. So what I'm looking for from your work, from the deliverable that you'll be submitting, is one Figjam board for everybody. So this may be, designer one. So this is like the, designer one's set of wireframes. Um, I'll expect another one from another designer, another one from a different designer, another one from a different designer. They don't necessarily have to be stacked, but I do want people to claim ownership of a particular screen. And what I want to see is actually how all of these screens are connected. So instead of, so maybe designer two is focused on, they're focused on fleshing out what the view looks like for all of the classes. So I will I'll create the art history version. So I'm going to connect, so I'm going to draw that arrow, connect it here. So here I am showing that my screen is literally connected to like the other designer screen because there are arrows that point to where my feature will live. So here, this is an art history class. Maybe something else to differentiate it would be maybe this screen is a quiz screen. So I clicked and dragged over the square. I'm going to double click to add text. So I'm going to put quiz 1 due September 29th. So I'm going to make that a button. So I want it to look kind of buttony. So I might give it a little pop of color. Again, don't go too fancy with it. I really want just like super basic stuff. But maybe there's a quiz button. Maybe there's flashcards to help you remember all of your art and artists. So I'm going to move that a little bit. Okay. And then maybe I don't really need this kind of hero image, so I'm just going to click and then delete this content here. But maybe I want to retain some of this text. I'm going to click and move that. Actually, I'm just going to click, drag, deselect that, move that up, and then move the quiz button and flashcards up. I noticed that I don't have a menu item or any like menu items here at the bottom for like an in-class view. So maybe my in-class view, so I'll move this up, will also include, the home page. Maybe this is modules. This is a to-do. And then, I don't know, what else do you need? Inbox. There's a global inbox, so you don't need an inbox specific for a class. You got to-do, you got modules. I'll just put quiz because I don't know what to put here for now. Okay, so here I'm showing that my work builds off of the next student. So, in this case, these are different classes, so the layouts may be pretty similar, and you're just filling in content, just like how Canvas currently works, how there's like this basic structure that is provided by Canvas and teachers slot in the work. For your designs, I would imagine that each of these features may look a little bit different. So your inbox is going to have like this customized design and it's going to look different than like an informational page. It'll look different from a message page. It'll look different from a profile. What I'm looking for here is the basic structure of what your app screens will look like and how they connect to the other wireframes from your group. And I literally want to see how they connect. So I literally want to see the arrows that connect your screens, to these other screens. Um, and right now, the way that I had copied and pasted, I showed you like all the designers had their work stacked on top of one another. The arrows are going to start going real wild. So if you want to, you can move the screens in an order that work for you, or work for the group, and just make sure like every designer kind of claims their owner, like they own a screen or like the screen. And so literally just you can just put their names underneath so that I can follow along and count and make sure that everyone's completed an equitable number of screens. All right. So what did we cover? So we created a Figjam board. So we created it. We shared it with our group. What you are submitting, you're going to copy that link, and they don't give you the link; they just copy it to your clipboard. But what you will submit is that link. So make sure you add me to it as well, so that I can see it. My email, if you didn't already have it, marhalslander@ucdenver.edu. So make sure you add me to those designer lists that you've put into the share button. Okay, so this is the URL that you're gonna submit. Make sure you have to have a title for it. Right now it's untitled, but name it whatever your team name is, so it's easy to find for me. Um, and then we drew the the frame of the screen, so like the big rectangle, which is supposed to represent like the size of the phone. We have a header with text in it. We have a footer with some shapes and some text in it. We have these tiles for the different destinations that this app goes to, and in my example of the Canvas student app, these tiles are different classes you're taking. We've also drawn connector arrows to show how all of these screens are connected. And then I've also done a treatment with like some colors as well. So that's really what I'm looking for this deliverable. Again, like I want you to focus on the structure. I do not want you to focus necessarily on how it looks right now, because that will come in the next two or so modules. This is laying out a blueprint of what you'll be designing later. So this is a great first step at getting all of your ideas out on digital paper / whiteboard. This is a really good way to collaborate with the other designers, get quick feedback. They can kind of draw in notes or draw in suggestions versus like rearranging, your beautifully designed screens once we get to Figma. So this is a good first place to start. And doing this stuff on the fly is something that we do as designers when we're interviewing for jobs and internships. So this is a very valuable skill set to have under your belt. All right. So go ahead and get started, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Thanks.